guys how to make this dress. It's like a button down but halfway button down, and it has a different color, and the button asymmetric button. So guys, the next thing I'm going to do is first the back is going to be the plain color, so I've cut out this here. This is the wrong side of the cloth, the right side is inside, because I'm going to be marking chalk on this. So basically we are starting with the back panel. So the back panel is going to be the length you want your dress to be. So this dress is going to be about 39.5 inches, and then I added 1.5 extra because of the 1 inch of folding the edge and half an inch of folding the joining the top part. So now we're just going to draw our basic dress pattern. So first you're going to mark the shoulder to the so first I'm going to mark her shoulder to her waist, which is at 17. I'm going to mark that here. Her shoulder to her hip, which is at so guys, the next thing I marked here is her shoulder to waist and the shoulder to her hip. So now we're going to go back up and put in her shoulder measurement, which is going to be 16 divided by 2 is 8. I'm going to mark that here. Mark 1 inch of shoulder slope, right? We're just drawing a basic bodice here. Come down here, put in your armhole divided by 2, which for her is going to be 9, and then connect it this way. And then now I'm going to rule a straight line to join the two together. So guys, after that I'm going to mark 3 inches of back neckline and then connect the shoulder slope to this point, right? And then after that I'm going to just give it a curve here for your armhole. Insert your bust measurement. Her bust measurement divided by 4 is 40 plus 1 inch of seam allowance. Her waist measurement divided by 4 is 34, which is going to be 8.5 plus 1 inch of darting and 1 inch of seam allowance. Her hip measurement divided by 4 is going to be 46. Divided by 4 is going to be 11.5, and then plus 1 inch of sewing allowance, which is here. The same thing at the bottom part here. I'm going to just take away 1 inch from this bottom part, and that is going to be it. So now all I have to do is just to connect everything this way. Just connect from this point here up. So guys, the next thing I'm going to mark now is also her shoulder to her bust, which is at 11.5 somewhere here. And then I'm going to just go ahead and insert the dart. So to dart this now, all I have to do is to put in her nipple to nipple divided by 2, which is going to be 4 inches. I'm going to add half an inch to that. So that's 4.5. Mark it all the way here, and then mark half an inch on both sides for my darting, right? And then I'm going to mark the same 4.5 at the top here and just connect my dart this way. Remember, for your breast dart is going to stop. Your breast dart normally stops before you get to the bust line. So this dart here is supposed to end somewhere before this, but remember this is the back panel, so my dart is even supposed to go all the way to the chest line, which is this our armhole line here, right? This is not the front. So, and then for the bottom part is going to stop 2 inches before this line. So I'm going to just connect it. So guys, this is basically it. All I have to do now is to just go ahead and cut it out. I'm going to pin it down so that I'm going to pin it down so it doesn't move while I'm cutting it out. So guys, now that this is done, the next thing I'm going to do is just to go ahead and cut out what I'm going to use as the side for the akara. So now I'm going to just take this fabric here. So guys, once I cut that out, the next thing so now my back panel is done. The next thing I want to do now is with this front panel, I'm going to use it to trace everything out, right? So you see how I place this on this side now, and this is the wrong side of my cloth. Like I said, the right side of this plain fabric is on the inside. This is the wrong side. So this one here now is the wrong side also. The right side is the back, and this is going to be on one side of the cloth. So what I did here is just to cut out this rectangle that is just enough width to contain this fabric, right? So what I'm going to do now is I've just placed this fabric now. I am going to go ahead and mark out all the angle and sides of this one now, right? Once I mark that out, I can also even pin it down and go ahead and cut it out. But before that, I'm also going to try to know that my front panel, this akara side of it, is going to be like wherever my neckline is. Remember, we did 3 inches of neck width, so that's where this one is going to start exactly. So I'm going to just move that 3 inches away and then rule a straight line down from that point, and know that I've marked a straight line for these 3 inches. That's where the neckline is supposed to be. So guys, to these 3 inches now, the next thing I'm going to add to it is going to be seam allowance. Guys, remember, you need seam allowance to fold in the bottom placket. So to make my bottom placket, what I'm going to do now is, from this point that I've made now, let me move it closer so you guys can see. You see, I've moved away these 3 inches of neckline, which is where this neck point is supposed to start from. I'm going to now draw in my front neckline, which is normally like 3 inches, right? Which would normally be like 3 inches of depth, which will be somewhere here, and then give it the curve that it's supposed to have, like this, right? And then after that, I'm going to just mark what I'm going to use to fold in as my placket. So you can do 2.5 inches down. So I'm just going to do 2.5 inches away from this edge now. Guys, this is going to be our placket for the button. For the button and the buttonhole. So now that I've done this, now I'm going to go ahead and cut it out. So what I'm cutting out now is basically the same length as this dress. You see, down here I'm cutting the same length as the back panel, because this is not the one that has the angle at the end. After that, I'm going to go ahead and cut this part here, right? Cut it out and then cut it out all the way to the top. After that, the next thing I'm going to cut is just that neckline part of it to the top, and then push this down. So now what I know is that I'm tracing everything. So I'm going to now just trace from the shoulder slope to the side. So guys, now that I've done this, the next thing I'm going to do is to remove this one now, and I'll show you guys why we did this. So the next thing we are going to do now is just to fold this. You're going to fold this to make a placket. Just fold it on itself. To sew it down to this line, you're going to fold it and sew it down to that line that you marked. So that's how I'm going to fold it, and now that will be my placket for the button. So this is the one side, and remember, this is still going to have a dart. You're still going to transfer this particular dart you have here on this side also. So I'm going to also do that, and this will be one side of the dress, the one that will be on the inside. Tutorial, you have to just trace out your back panel. Once you've done that, we've traced out our back panel. This is what it looks like. Cut out everything. Go ahead and trace out another piece of your back panel, but this time on just a piece of fabric that is not folded into two. You see, I've traced that one out also. A single piece like this. This is how I traced it out. It's exactly the same length, even up to the front here. It still maintains the same length here. That's what I have here. So now for the back, now what we are trying to trace again now is the second part of the front, which is going to be the one that will overlap and has the extension at the bottom. So what we are going to do is basically that one here, we're going to just extend 2 inches out this way. Like you can do 2 inches. So guys, I'm going to do extension of 2 inches here, or I can even do 2.5 if I want to, so that I can have a bold placket for this. So just measure 2.5 down, and then so guys, at this bottom part now, where the length of my dress is supposed to stop, what I'm going to do, it depends on you how you want the extension to be. So I'm going to do about 2.5 again of extension here, but add 1 inch of folding the edge, right? So that's going to be about 3.5 is what I have here. So now I'm going to blend it into the edge of this cloth. So I'm going to blend it into the edge this way. So now guys, I've blended it in this way. Now I'm going to still go ahead and cut it and maintain the side. So everything on this side will be cut. You see where my blue chalk is marking? I'm going to cut everything up to the armhole to the top, maintaining the same side as the top one. And then once I finish that, I'm going to cut the neckline so you guys can see. So guys, this is it here. You see, this is done. All I have to do on this one now is to go ahead, transfer this dart on this other one, go ahead and also cut the neckline. So you see, we've cut the sides and maintain everything the same. Just coming up to this top, I'm going to mark where this notch of the shoulder tip is, and then I'm going to come down by about 3 inches of neckline for the front. 3 inches of neckline this way, connect it this way, and then give it a curve like this. So this is basically my neckline. I'm going to go ahead and cut it out, guys. So that's basically it. I'm going to remove this back panel now, and then the next thing I'm going to do is to also cut out your front armhole. Remember, you always have to go back in and remove this about 1/2 inch from the armhole so that your sleeve can relax better. So on this armhole part, I'm going to make sure I place everything perfectly, and then I'm going to come down here. Remember, my armhole was 9, right? Somewhere here, halfway through that is supposed to be 4.5. So I'm going to just go in here by 1/2 inch, connect the top part to this part with a straight line, and then the rest with a curve. So now I'm going to cut this out to get a better depth in this my armhole. What it looks like at the moment. So I've gone ahead and joined the shoulder to the shoulder, picked that on all of them. This one has a dart, this has a dart all over, and then you see the one in front. Now this one underneath here, it's overlapping by at least you see how much is overlapping on this one. So the one underneath, like I said before, is going to be folded, you see. So all I have to do now, I've pinned it down, is just to go to the sewing machine, fold in 1/2 inch of the edge, and just sew it down for my placket. And then you see this one on top now is going to fall over like this, but I'm not going to be folding this one on top. I'm just going to use this to hem it down. So basically I'm just going to use this that I cut out, is about 1.5 or so. So I'm just going to take it, or almost 2 inches, just take it the way it is, sew 1/2 inch all the way to the end like this, sew 1/2 inch all the way to the end of this thing like this, and then you're going to use that 1/2 inch to turn it inside this way. So this is going to be on the other side of the cloth, but the black is still going to be on top, but this is going to be on the inside. I'm just going to sew it down this way, and then it's going to be on the inside of this. So, and then once I'm just using it to fold the edge so that this placket can lay on top of this, because remember, it's supposed to be the black one on top. So I'm just using this to turn in 1/2 inch of the edge, and then that is going to be the top part of the placket. So once I do that, now the next thing I have to do, guys, if you finish and you feel like your neckline is too high, you can always bring it down a little bit. So now we're just going to go ahead and cut a basic sleeve. So basically you're going to come down here, you're going to go ahead and fold your fabric into 2. You see my fabric is folded. Now I've folded it again. So you're going to mark about 4 inches from the top for your cap height, which I've marked here in this straight line like this. So once that is done, I'm going to go ahead from this point and connect it like this. Find halfway through this line, which is going to be about 6 inches. Give it a curve above this way, and then give it a curve below. Insert your sleeve width, which for me is about 7.5 for the client, and then I'm going to just add 1 inch of sewing allowance. Connect this point to this, and then I'm just going to go ahead and cut it out. Whatever you decide to use as your length of your sleeve, add 1.5 to it. So that's basically it. I'm going to go ahead and cut this now, and after cutting this, I'm going to join it to the body of the cloth. So you're going to cut from this point now, cut the lower part, and then take it up and cut the top part of it. Here, like I said, I've picked the dart, I've joined it. Just use bias to, once you fold this side, and then use this to turn this over. You see what I was saying? You use it to turn it over like this, and then this is going to just flap over on this side. Once you finish that part, the next thing is just to go ahead and use bias to run the neckline all the way to this part. So now I'm just going to put a button on the lower one, and then cut open my button hole on the top. And guys, if you don't have enough button, you can also stitch it all the way. Just stitch it on top, join these two together, maybe up to before the waist line, and then just put in button down here, right? So because if you look at the one on the thumbnail, it doesn't have button going all the way from the shoulder to the top, but you can do that if you want. But if you don't want, you can stop somewhere here, almost by your hip, and then put in button for the rest of them. So that's basically it. This is what the bottom part looks like. You see what it looks like here, and then this is the back, and this is the back of her dress here, and it's going to have this belt to help pull it together. So guys, this is the belt here. Everything is done. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.